next month, we'll notify the providers and so forth that the ABC drug is now generic ABC. So there'll be a new protocol in terms of how we cover these medicines, and we're going to start requiring a trial of generic ABC before we will cover brand ABC. And they normally give them a few weeks' notice.
Okay.
And that's kind of the way that's handled. The other thing that will be coming up, well, it probably wouldn't apply to this, but you probably have heard of biosimilars.
Of course.
Yes, with regard to, the biologic vaccine, if you will, specialty vaccine. And these are getting approved more regularly now. And what I've observed is that the payers are getting quite, shall we say, efficient, is once approval is given for a biosimilar to say, okay, all patients now must go on this trial of biosimilar before we will cover, brand. So you're seeing the same kind of process.
So does that happen with generics too?
Yeah, generic. I think by and large, most people, most of the payers I've seen just switch simply. Then once a generic is available, if it's not available, they don't have any any option.
No, I understand.
Yeah, but once there is an option for generic coverage, they will generally require that a trial of a generic equivalent of whatever item, drug it happens to be under discussion, must be tried, and then the provider has to document failure of the generic in terms of whatever efficacy, side effects, so forth, and then before coverage of the brand would be considered, because the move is definitely to get people to generic if possible. Once a generic medication has been approved. Now, I think once I saw, and I can't remember where it was a while back, but anyway, a new generic came on the market for something, I can't remember, and as a result of that, the company decided, well, we're going to switch everyone to generic, but I remember the pharmacist had said, that we don't have, yes, it's just been approved, but we're going to have a problem with supply, because apparently that particular medication there was not a huge amount of generic products coming down the pipeline right then. So I think the company, the payer, I remember, I think they said, okay, we won't, normally we just say generics, now that they're here as of, the first of next month, then, or whatever, a few weeks anyway, you'll all have to switch to generics, at least as a trial. In this case, I think they held off about 3 or 4 months because they were waiting to see if supply was going to be adequate. So they weren't getting into trouble with switching everybody, only to find out that there weren't really enough generic products out there, or I should say drugs from there. So that might have, there are always these little glitches.
Yeah. No, I understand that. I just wanted to know about the more general case, not the...
Oh, I see. More general. The payers like generics. And I think they're going to love biosimilars also.
Interesting. Yeah. We've been following that quite carefully, and we're sort of thinking that it would be good if there were more incentives. Actually, there's some kind of perverse incentive still in the system not to
Yes, I know. And of course, there's the big patent fights and all the rest of it. But then in many cases, ludicrous, where they get 10 years extension because of some little whatever.
Exactly.
But anyway, I think it's very... So...
Yeah, it's been interesting. We have many students of that in our practice, but it will be interesting. A lot of interesting changes coming down the pike.
Oh yes, yeah. I think someone had asked me just a couple of weeks ago. Where is the biopharm going, and how is it going to interact with the payers? And I said, I don't think we really know now. And I think this upcoming election may make a difference, and how the big organizations are beginning to buy up, as you know, pharmacies, and have a section of PBMs, and just as many people are unaware that United Health Group, the big, one of the biggest